Yeah, I mean, as for the drama between them, like, if what he's alleging is true, she sounds like an absolute nightmare. I mean, I get the impression that it's like a prima donna that's come in, tried to take over and hijack the movie, and when she didn't get her way, she brought her much richer, more successful, and powerful husband in to lay down the law.
Same PR rep who repped Johnny, who was behind this, Blake sort of saw that as, oh, you're trying to use an Amber Heard tactic, but she didn't even realize, like, that's not a good defense. That means you're guilty because Blake, Amber lied.
Initially, I felt quite sorry for Blake Lively. Then I've been reading all the messages between them all, and which he's been putting out, obviously. And it just seems like a pair of absolute weapons-grade narcissists. Now, spray gunning each other with as much dirt as they...
Blake Lively, once Hollywood's golden girl and America's sweetheart, is now at the center of a storm. Whispers of a career unraveling grow louder as co-stars quietly pull away, and a looming lawsuit threatens to shatter her carefully built image. What began as a dream project, bringing the best-selling novel It Ends With Us to the big screen, has spiraled into a mess of accusations, legal strife, and public betrayal. The red carpet glow has dimmed, replaced by tension and doubt, as fans and insiders watch a beloved star walk the razor's edge between ambition and scandal.
I felt quite sorry for Blake Lively. Then I've been reading all the messages between them all, and absolute weapons-grade narcissists.
Look, I went through the 160-page. Blake Lively is a complete nightmare. She has the audacity to call her husband and Taylor Swift her dragons.
Blake sort of saw that as, oh, you're trying to use an Amber Heard tactic, but she didn't even realize, like, that's not a good defense. That means you're guilty because Blake, Amber lied. Dropped a lawsuit with all his texts, cherry-picked those texts, removed emojis and, like, intent and backstory to these texts.
Literally outright deleted certain sections of the text.
Yes.
It is so offensive and so...
For years, Blake Lively seemed untouchable. From her breakout as the stylish lead on a hit TV series to her effortless leap into box office success, she embodied Hollywood charm, polished, charismatic, and scandal-free. That image shattered with It Ends With Us. Fans rejoiced when Blake announced she would not only star in, but also co-produce the adaptation of the best-selling novel. The buzz was electric, and with Justin Baldoni, an industry favorite, attached, the studio was certain they had a blockbuster in the making. But behind the curated red carpets and glossy behind-the-scenes shots, cracks quickly formed. Creative clashes, last-minute casting changes, and whispered disputes over artistic direction began to circulate. What was once a passion project became a pressure cooker of egos, expectations, and conflicting visions. And while the public saw glamour, insiders sensed turbulence. A reminder that even Hollywood's brightest darlings aren't immune to the shadows of ambition.
Many people in the past have been victim to the kind of stunts that Blake Lively and her husband have pulled, now apparently in conjunction with Taylor Swift, who has oddly decided to distance herself from the couple, which is an interesting...
At first, whispers of a rift between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni were easy to dismiss, just another Hollywood rumor. But months later, the cracks have widened into a fault line threatening to end careers. What was once a close-knit cast has fractured into rival camps. Blake, backed by her powerful allies, versus Justin, fighting to protect his name from allegations he insists are fabricated. The drama exploded when a scathing legal complaint went public, igniting a firestorm of speculation online. Blake reportedly accused Justin of orchestrating schemes to sabotage her image, turning quiet behind-the-scenes tension into an all-out war. Now, what began as creative friction has morphed into a very public feud, with fans and insiders questioning loyalty, trust, and power in Hollywood. And with the spotlight shifting from the film to the fallout, the project itself risks being lost in the chaos.
Allowed, like, Blake Lively dropped a lawsuit with all his texts, cherry-picked those texts, removed emojis and, like, intent and backstory to these texts.
Literally outright deleted certain sections of...
Depending on which gossip column you read, Justin Baldoni was quickly cast as the villain, the ambitious director determined to eclipse Blake Lively's star power. For weeks, the media fed the fire, with fans demanding answers and fellow cast members appearing to rally behind Blake. The logic seemed simple. She was the bigger star, so why would she lie? Then came the twist. Justin's legal team filed a countersuit, claiming Blake had orchestrated an elaborate smear campaign against him, with her powerful publicist Leslie Sloan allegedly pulling strings to paint him as Hollywood's latest antagonist. The filing even suggested that certain cast members aligned with Blake less out of loyalty than fear of what might happen if they didn't. What began as whispers of tension exploded into a full-blown public battle, laying bare the fragile alliances, ruthless power plays, and high-stakes politics simmering beneath Hollywood's glossy facade.
The producer tried to harass this woman, this Mad Hatter, who no sane man would go near with a 10-foot barge pole. It is so offensive.
If you thought the controversy had already peaked, think again. Justin Baldoni's countersuit didn't just push back against Blake Lively's claims. It detonated the feud with a staggering $400 million defamation demand that rocked Hollywood to its core. Suddenly, Blake's once untouchable image looked fragile. Fans began asking the unthinkable. Why would Justin risk everything if there wasn't truth behind his defense? Overnight, the narrative flipped, and Blake's carefully curated role as the wronged party began to crumble. The fallout spread quickly to the cast. Brendan Skeeter and Isabella Ferrer, who played Atlas and young Lily in It Ends With Us, had once seemed firmly in Blake's corner. Brendan even reposted her legal filing with heart emojis, while Isabella gushed about Blake during the premiere, reinforcing the perception that Justin was the problem. But as weeks passed, cracks appeared. Brendan, once cheerful and outspoken, started sidestepping questions with polished PR lines like, "I just want people to focus on the film." Isabella's tone, once glowing, grew more cautious. Fans noticed every shift, dissecting interviews for hidden meaning. What began as unwavering support was now fraying, leaving the public to wonder if Blake's allies were quietly retreating as the stakes grew higher. Isabella's journey from vocal support to a suspicious silence wasn't accidental. It was calculated. In Hollywood, silence is often louder than applause, and fans noticed. Whispers grew. Had she uncovered something behind the scenes? Had legal threats forced her hand? Or had she simply realized that standing by Blake wasn't as safe or as simple as it first appeared? The tension came to a head when Brendan was cornered on a talk show. Asked point blank to pick a side, Team Blake or Team Justin, he hesitated. His carefully crafted reply, "I'm Team It Ends With Us," was diplomatic to the point of discomfort. A statement that revealed everything by saying almost nothing. It was the first clear signal that the cast's loyalty to Blake was cracking, but the pressure didn't stop with the actors. The industry itself runs on relationships, reputation, and influence, and Blake Lively has plenty of both. Married to Ryan Reynolds, one of Hollywood's most bankable stars, and tied closely to Taylor Swift, a cultural juggernaut, Blake's network is formidable. Aligning with her can open doors while opposing her risks closing them for good. For younger or mid-tier actors like Isabella and Brendan, supporting Blake seemed the safest move. Why risk Swift's wrath or miss out on Reynolds' connections? By contrast, Justin, though respected and admired, lacked Blake's pop culture dominance. He couldn't promise front-row Fashion Week seats or cameos in billion-dollar blockbusters. At first, sticking with Blake looked like the logical choice, but Hollywood is fickle. What begins as an advantage can quickly turn into a liability, and support that once seemed unshakable can collapse overnight. Once Justin's countersuit surfaced, armed with text messages, emails, and even whispers of recorded calls contradicting Blake's narrative, the ground beneath her began to shake. In Hollywood, where careers rise and fall on perception, the fear of being misled, or worse, exposed as complicit in a lie, became a powerful motivator. Those who once stood firmly in Blake's corner began to reconsider their loyalty. At the heart of this unraveling stood Lizzie Sloan, Blake's longtime publicist and Hollywood's so-called fixer. For years, Sloan was known as the woman who could silence damaging rumors with a single phone call, a crisis manager trusted by the industry's biggest names. But Justin's countersuit painted a different picture, one in which Sloan wasn't just cleaning up Blake's messes, but allegedly engineering them. According to the claims, she orchestrated a full-blown smear campaign, planting blind items, feeding tabloids, and shaping gossip designed to frame Justin as toxic, untrustworthy, and dangerous to support. The lawsuit even suggests Sloan influenced the cast itself, allegedly urging actors and crew to keep their distance from Justin, while quietly reinforcing Blake's narrative. Emails and messages reportedly show her nudging stars to align with Blake. Proof, Justin's legal team argues, that the public story was carefully manufactured. Her current effort to keep herself out of the defamation trial only fuels speculation. For someone with Sloane's experience to request distance suggests the stakes are staggering, and the evidence potentially explosive. What makes the situation especially unsettling is the suggestion of hard receipts, screenshots, audio clips, and statements that contradict the polished press lines. Take Isabella Farah. She allegedly texted Justin after filming, thanking him for creating a safe, supportive environment on set. Yet weeks later, she appeared on record echoing Blake's claims of hostility. Was this a change of heart, or a shift engineered by someone steering the narrative? Brendan Skinner's cautious, contradictory behavior raises the same question. Were they acting on conviction or simply on pressure? What began as a glossy Hollywood adaptation of a best-selling novel has spiraled into a high-stakes drama of loyalty, power, and reputation management. In a town where connections are currency, the wrong move can end a career overnight. And this saga, with its whispers of orchestrated smears and shifting allegiances, shows how fragile even the most glamorous reputations truly are. Once a loud and loyal supporter of Blake, he has now fallen nearly silent. Gone are the heart emojis that once accompanied reposts of her legal complaint. In their place is a careful avoidance of her name during interviews. Fans can't help but wonder, did he see the alleged evidence Justin possesses? Or is he simply terrified of legal repercussions if he continues to defend her? The speculation is feverish, and no one knows which version of events actually aligns with reality. As the legal battle escalates, the public waits anxiously, aware that the most explosive revelations may still be ahead. Rumors swirl of a smoking gun in Justin's possession, an alleged piece of evidence so damning it could shatter Blake's carefully crafted narrative. If such a weapon exists, the question isn't just whether it will come out, but whether Blake's camp will scramble to settle before it ever sees the inside of a courtroom. For a time, public sentiment leaned heavily toward Blake. She was Hollywood's golden actress, a star with an untouchable reputation. Why would she ever fabricate such claims? Social media echoed her defense. Hashtags condemning Justin trended, and in the court of public opinion, he was declared guilty long before any judge spoke. But Justin refused to go quietly. He released fragments of his own evidence, just enough to raise doubts. Slowly, the tide began to turn. Crew members, supporting actors, even directors started voicing support for him. Stories painted him not as a villain, but as a generous colleague, a mentor, a philanthropist. Fans who once shouted, "Believe Blake," were left unsettled, asking themselves, had they been manipulated by a polished PR machine and sensational headlines? Blake's team tried to seize back control, filing motions to dismiss Justin's defamation claims and dismissing the suit as a desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative. Yet the cracks in her support system were visible. Cast members distanced themselves, and whispers of A-listers being dragged into the legal crossfire only deepened the sense of a brewing Hollywood implosion. What began as a simple "he said, she said" has now ballooned into a ticking time bomb with careers, reputations, and fortunes hanging in the balance. For Blake, the stakes couldn't be higher. A courtroom loss, or even the perception of dishonesty, could cost her acting roles, fracture her fan base, and scare away lucrative brand deals. For Justin, the outcome is just as perilous. A defeat risks blacklisting him from the industry altogether, while even a victory would come with staggering emotional and financial costs. In the end, both sides are staring at the same terrifying truth. In Hollywood, reputation is everything, and once it cracks, no amount of star power can glue it back together. Challenging a high-profile figure like Blake Lively is a dangerous gamble. In Hollywood, going against the grain can limit future opportunities regardless of how a lawsuit ends. Supporting players like Brendan Skinner and Isabella Farah are also walking a tightrope. If evidence shows they initially backed Blake for opportunistic reasons, they risk looking duplicitous and losing fan sympathy. On the other hand, if their doubts about Justin prove unfounded, they could alienate audiences who have since rallied behind him. In short, there's no winning move for those caught in the crossfire. And yet, the stakes keep climbing. Rumors of hidden evidence and whispers of a smoking gun linger in the background, fueling speculation about just how explosive this scandal could become. With reputations, careers, and Hollywood's delicate power dynamics in play, the fallout could reach far beyond a single film. This isn't just about it ends with us anymore. It's about trust in the entire ecosystem of Tinseltown. At the center of it all looms Lizzie Sloane, Blake Lively's longtime publicist and Hollywood's infamous fixer. Known for extinguishing rumors with a single